and was like, bitch, you're gay. You don't like men. You don't like men. Like, you're gay. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. It's your girl Key Simone and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, okay? Your girl's been busy. Graduated with my master's, summa cum laude from University of Florida. We love that. Officially got into a relationship. We absolutely love that. And I just been trying to figure out like what life will be like for me now that I'm not in school. That was a big part of my identity, frankly, for like 2 years. Now that I'm not in school, I'm trying to figure out like what is my routine. I've been getting back in the gym. I've been eating healthier. I've been losing some weight. Like, things have been great. And also, it was DC Black Pride, okay? And then it was Capital Pride weekend because June is Pride Month. And that is why I'm here today talking to you guys, because I thought the best way to celebrate Pride Month was to share my coming out story. So let's get into it. So my coming out story is a little messy. I think that's the best way to describe it. And it's very on brand for like what my love life has been basically up until this year. Frankly, hate to drag myself, but that's the truth. And honestly, this year makes 10 years since I officially came out as a lesbian, okay? Like, I was bisexual for a little bit, and then I was like, actually, no, not with the men anymore, completely with the women. And so it's like kind of like my gay anniversary in a way. But when I turned 31, so I think it was last year, but like we're gonna act like we're gonna celebrate this year for the point of this video. And so my first memory of like having same-sex attraction dates back all the way from when I was like a young kid living in Sumter, South Carolina on Shaw Air Force Base. But I was so young and had no concept or idea of like what attraction was, that it was like almost like a memory that was buried very deep in my psyche for a really long time. So maybe like the first time I was cognizant of like, you're kind of like more intrigued about this other woman or young girl, because I was in high school at that time, than you probably would be, was I was a freshman in high school. I was living in Misawa, Japan, which is basically my hometown. For context, both my mom and my dad are retired Air Force, but I lived primarily with my mom for my entire life, for most of my life, I should say. After my parents got divorced, my entire life. After my parents got divorced, I lived with my mom overseas from 9 to 17. So most of my childhood was spent overseas on military bases. And so I was living in Misawa. I was playing junior varsity basketball. And there was this basketball tournament in Okinawa. And because I was one of the better JV players, I got picked to go, which was super exciting. And the host team that we were playing at, the school we were playing at, were full of lesbians, quite frankly. I didn't really know what a lesbian was back then, but looking back, full of studs. Absolutely. And there was one in particular who I think had a little crush on me. I can see her face a little bit, but absolutely don't remember her name. And she was kind of just like staring at me and flirting with me the entire time we were there. And her girlfriend like confronted me in the bathroom, like, are you flirting with my girlfriend? I was like, whoa, like, what is a girlfriend when you're not with a man? Like, I didn't understand really the concept of it. I was just kind of aware of like, this girl's flirting with me. She's staring at me. She's like trying to talk to me, and I'm not disgusted by it. Like, it was almost intriguing to me that this was happening, but I didn't understand why. And like, my mom to this day will say I talk about that like interaction all the time. She said when you got back from that trip, that's all you talked about were these girls, that girl like trying to talk to you and stuff like that. And so that was my first like exposure to like queer culture and lesbians in general. But again, like, all I had known my entire life is heteronormity. I've only known a man and a woman being together. I was so young that even if there were other lesbians and queer people at my school, I had no concept of it or like didn't notice it. And so again, like, continuing to just date men, I moved to Geilenkirchen, Germany after my freshman year of high school. And at Geilenkirchen, like, we had a rival team God, what was that base name? Started with a B. Not Bermuda. Not Ramstein. I can't think of it, but there was a base that we had a rival team. And two of the best players on that team were studs. And my coach would always get mad at me because after the games, and they would beat us like most of the time, like they beat us in like the championship game. But after the games, I would go and sit by them and like talk to them. I was just very drawn to them and their energy. Again, had no idea. My coach is like, why are you hanging out with them when they just beat us in the game? And I'm just like, I think they're cool. Like I like their vibe. Like me not realizing like, bitch, you're gay. Like you like their vibe because you're attracted to them. But again, wasn't like no bells were ringing in my head. And like there were a few gay boys at our school, but there were really no like studs that were out. Like you had tomboys, but like we all were kind of tomboys when we played basketball. Like who cared? So nothing was ringing in my head. And then when I graduated from high school and I went to my first college, was College of Charleston. So I graduated with my BA from Howard University, but I started at CFC because I was living in Sumter, South Carolina. I did my senior year of high school with my dad, and then I went to a local school because at the time it was just cheaper and I thought it was going to be easier. Absolutely hated CFC, but that's not the point of the story. So before my fall semester of my freshman year of undergrad, I went to this program called Spectra, and it basically was for like first generation and people of color to give them like a head start in school. And like looking back, it's kind of racist and not really that as well intended as they probably thought it was, but again, not the point of the video. So I went to Spectra, and one of my roommates in Spectra became one of my college best friends. She was recruited to play on the women's basketball team. And for that particular school, there was no football team. So the basketball teams were like the popular teams. Like they were a big deal to like the boosters in the local community. And so because she was playing on the team, she was like going to practices and interacting with the players during the summertime. And so was I, because we became best friends. And so I was around both the boys and women's basketball players very early on. And that continued to be a thing once we got to school. And so I had met my first, technically she wasn't my girlfriend, and y'all will understand like when I explain the story, but it's just easier to refer to her as my first girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, even though we only dated for like a couple days. But we were only in a relationship for a couple days, but we dated for like 9 months or something like that. I met my first girlfriend, we'll call her D. I met D over the summertime, and then we became friends by the time I came back for fall semester. And so we would hang out together in a group all the time. We'd hang out just one-on-one, really usually like at the library, like doing homework and stuff like that. I was very much dating men, and so I would talk to her about like the things that I were doing and like the way I was moving. I was a little bit of a late bloomer sexually. Can you say that on YouTube? I don't know. I was a little bit of a late bloomer. And so I didn't do adult things until I was 17. And then like, I thought that I had to like catch up because I waited so long to like really be in the streets like that. And so a lot of my freshman year, the beginning of it was just me having a lot of fun. Okay. Safely. And so I would talk to her about it because she was my friend. I didn't think anything of it, but we would spend a lot of time together because again, Janae was my best friend. They both were on the same team. It just was natural. And so she was a stud. She was outwardly a lesbian. She dressed very masculine and in boy clothes. Not the first that I had been exposed to, but like she was. And she was very flirtatious with me from the onset. And so I would play into it, you know what I mean? Because it was very harmless. She would always call me boo. I would call her boo back. My friends were like, yo, you know, text D and see if they'll give us a ride to Purple Tree. Like if you are from Charleston or have lived in Charleston, you know what Purple Tree is. Like that used to be the club back in the day, okay? Southern hospitality in my ass. Purple Tree was the club, okay? And so I would flirt back with her very harmlessly, nothing serious. But again, we were spending a lot of time together. And so in the midst of that, I had got into a relationship with my very last ex-boyfriend. His name was, I don't remember. I know his name. Jordan. His name was Jordan. I had met him through a guy I had went to high school with. They both went to South Carolina State. He introduced me to him. And it was pseudo long distance. I think it was like a 2-hour time difference, like a time difference. It was like a 2-hour drive or whatever. We first just were just hanging out very casually, just having a lot of fun. And then eventually he was like, no, I actually really like you. And like, I kind of want to like, let's be a thing. I don't even remember how he asked me out, honestly. So he was my boyfriend, right? So we set the stage. I'm in a relationship with Jordan, okay? Have been slightly exposed to lesbians at that point, but had no concept of them still. And I am hanging out and becoming close to D, who is a lesbian, okay? That is the scene. And so one night in particular, and I remember this night so explicitly, me, D, Janae, and my other college best friend, 10 Shot 10, were all hanging out in Janae's room watching movies. And then we went to one of the cafes to get food. And as we were walking back to Janae's room, D's like, hey, like, I'm actually gonna go, y'all. This girl's waiting for me to like pull up on her. And I immediately got a fucking attitude, because I'm like, what do you mean you're about to go to hang out with another girl when I am right here? And so everyone's looking at me like, they used to call me Swig. They're like, Swig, like, what's your problem? D's like, boo, what's wrong? Like, you don't want me to go? Like, you're upset? Like, do you want me to stay? I don't have to go. And I'm like, nah, like, you know, do your thing. Like, who am I? Like, I didn't understand why I was having those emotions still. Like, come on, Key, realize that you're attracted to women at this point. Like, at all these clues, like, it should be clear that you're attracted to women. But I didn't know why I was feeling away, but I knew I was feeling away. And so she ends up leaving. And then we're all walking back to Janae's dorm, and Janae's like, you know, Swig, I think you like have a crush on D. And I'm like, nah. She's like, nah, like, I think you have like a little girl crush. I'm like, a girl crush? Like, what is that? What does that mean? And so I kind of thought about it, and like, I don't remember ever having a conversation with D and being like, I'm attracted to you, I have feelings for you. I know that I did because we started dating. I remember the realizations of having those feelings, and then I remember us starting to date. We would go to the movies together. We started hanging out a lot more like by ourselves, but I don't remember like telling her that I liked her. I distinctly remember one time she came over and laid on top of me. We were fully clothed, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, you've never felt another woman's body on your body, and I want to see how you react to it. And of course I'm like crying, shaking, and throwing up in the inside, because like, what the fuck is this? What's happening? I had never felt another woman's body on me. Obviously I've hugged people. Honestly, no, I wasn't even a big hugger back then. Like, my family weren't big huggers. Me and my friends were big huggers. So there wasn't much situations where I'm like touching other women's bodies, right? But then eventually there was like a rush of just like calmness. It was like the universes just collided and everything was lined up in one row for me internally. And it was just like, oh, like, this feels right. Like, this feels like this is something that like I could do forever. And like, when it came to dating men, like I said, I wasn't a late bloomer to dating. I always had boyfriends. I was in relationships. I always ate like the popular football players and basketball players and stuff like that. Me and my boyfriends were always in the yearbook and homecoming, all of those things, right? But when I started to do adult things with men, I never truly felt a connection. I always was thinking to myself, like, is this it? Like, is this what the experience is? Like, there has to be more. And I felt like a lot of like 17 to 18 was me looking for more in the intimate interactions I was having with men, because I was being left very unfulfilled. I will say with my boyfriend, because again, I had a boyfriend, right, that we probably had some of the best intimate interactions that in the short time that I was intimate with men. But it was not like a fairy tale relationship. Obviously, if I'm like catching feelings for somebody else, right? He had a child. I think the baby was like 1 or something when we started dating. And obviously, in retrospect, like, him and his baby mama were absolutely still dealing with each other, but I was really young, and so I just thought she would just be doing the most on Facebook. But she'd like change her profile picture to be like them as a family, or like him and the baby. She would post about them like they were always still together. And so me and him would get into it, because I'm just like, yo, check this girl. Like, this is when Facebook was like a really, really big thing. So like, how someone was acting on Facebook about your man, please relax. So let me back up, because before we started like hanging out, just her and I did have a conversation with my boyfriend. Let me be clear. I didn't just like start catching feelings and hanging out with her and he just didn't know. I wasn't cheating on him. So me and him, like I said, like we intimately had a pretty good connection and chemistry, and we had already been talking about exploring that together as a couple, right? Just, my parents might watch this, and this is YouTube, so I don't know how much I can truly say, but like, we were down the clown. And so me and him were already having conversations about that. And so when I started to catch feelings for D, I went to him and I said, hey, like, there's this girl, she likes me, I like her, I'm attracted. Well, what I said was, because again, I was a little bit in denial about like actually being queer. I just thought again that I was not fully satisfied with the intimate relationships I was having with men, and so I thought that there could be more, and I thought I should explore what that more could be, and like maybe being intimate with a woman was a little bit different and I might enjoy that more, regardless of what that meant. That was just an adult thing, to be very honest, at first. And so I go to him, I say, there's this girl, I'm attracted to her, she's attracted to me, but she's not attracted to men. She has no interest in like dating men and being intimate with men. Would you care if her and I hung out, clowned around? And he's like verbatim like, nah, I don't care. Like, I'm not threatened by you and a girl because I know you're not gay. He was like, if you want to explore yourself adult wise, feel free to do that. I had no problem with it. But like I said, she knew about how it was moving. So she wasn't just like, yeah, let's get to it, right? No, she kind of like slow walked me. And in the midst of a slow walking, we were just spending a lot of time together. So that's when we were going to movies, hanging out, doing stuff like that. And so I started to catch feelings, because when you're spending a whole bunch of time with someone, not being intimate in other ways, it's hard not to catch feelings. Like, that's why people who are in like long distance relationships, like 90 Day Fiance, fall in love, because like when you're talking to somebody so much and you're just getting to know them, like their mind and their spirit and not their body, like it's hard not to fall, I feel like. And so I just started dating both of them, and like he knew about her, she knew about him. I didn't think at the time he was dating someone else. He probably was. She was dating other people, so it was just like a win-win situation. Like, and he was at a different school, so I would hang out with D on campus, all that stuff, and then he would come like once a week and we would hang. And so like it was cool until it wasn't, right? Like stuff like that doesn't last always that long. And so over the winter break, I obviously go back home. Me and Jordan had plans to, I want to say, he came and met my parents, and I was planning to meet his parents. We ended up spending New Year's Day together, right? So we had all these like holiday plans. I don't know if I think we bought each other Christmas gifts too. Like, he was my boyfriend. So like, you know, we had plans together, and me and D were just like, I'll see you when I get back on campus, because we were, again, super casual. They were dating other people. I had a boyfriend, like whatever. And then she kind of hit me and was like, I kind of really miss you. And like, I think I kind of like you more than I thought. And I kind of don't want to share you anymore. And I'm like, okay, whoa, sister. I have a man though. Like, I have a boyfriend. And like, again, I'm not realizing that I'm falling in love. I knew I had feelings. I knew I enjoyed her company, but I was in a relationship and I really liked my boyfriend. Like, me and Jordan had a pretty decent relationship to be 18 and 19 years old. I think he might have been like 20. But like, we had a pretty decent relationship. So like, there was nothing for me to not want to be with him. You know what I'm saying? But then like, his ex did something over the holiday break that like really pissed me off. And I was like, are you gonna check her about it? And he kind of was like, nah, because that's my baby mom. And then when I went to his mom's house to meet her, she did not get out of the bed. She literally spoke to me through the crack of her bedroom door, which I thought was so insanely rude. Like, I'm a guest in your home, get the fuck up and come say hi. Weird. And then she had all of these fucking family photos of him and the baby mom and the baby. And I said, oh, like, am I the other woman? Like, I'm confused. Like, I thought I was the girlfriend. Like, it was very clear to me that he was at that point probably still very much dealing with her in a way that he wasn't being honest with me about. And so we got into this big fight about it, and we ended up breaking up. And even though he tried to get back with me, I was over it, because I was like, but I have someone else. After holiday break, me and D became very, very hot and heavy. And I'm not gonna go into like the details of relationship because that's not really what this video is about. But that is when my journey as a lesbian started. And so again, like, I was the typical baby femme where I'm like, this is my man, I love her, and like I'm not gonna love any other girl after her. Like, I'm not gay, I'm just gay for her. Like, I was the typical baby femme, but I was in love. Like, I had fell hard, okay? I remember writing her a poem and telling her that I loved her, and her being like, that's nice. Like, when I think about it, like, she really was not checking for me the way I was checking for her at all. Like, not even close. And she was a 5th year senior because she had transferred. I was a freshman. She was graduating that year. Like, I'm moving to Charlotte. I don't want to do long distance. So like, when you go back for a summer break, we're done. And I like didn't take her seriously because we were like this. Like, we were with each other all the time. But when I went back for summer break and she graduated, I think I texted her, I told her, you know, congratulations, I love you. She just like, thank you. And then like, I literally didn't hear from her again, and it was just done. She actually did not go to Charlotte, and it was like a whole bunch of drama my next sophomore year, but that's not what the video is about. And I think I know her. She would absolutely hate me talking about her in this detail anyways. I mean, we're cool. Like, from a very, very far, like, we're Facebook friends and like that never interact with each other, but she would hate me talking in detail, so I'm not going to. And also, like, I'm in a whole new relationship and it's been like 15 years, who cares? But I was fucking heartbroken because she really like did not want to be with me no more, and I'm like, okay, but like, I love you. What do you mean? Like, you're supposed to be my girlfriend, like, what's happening? And so when I got back from summer break, I also didn't think I was going to keep dating women, but I did. But I was also still dating men. But I never got into another relationship with a man after that point. So I was never ever serious with another guy. I was just very casual again. And for me, like, I wasn't someone who like wanted to get into a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, after me and Jordan broke up and then me and D stopped dating, I was like, I just kind of want to have fun. I'm 19 years old. I just wanted to have fun. And like, both my mom and my sister had kids very young. It wasn't something that I personally was interested in doing. So I felt like I was like, I want to do the complete opposite of that. I don't want to get married young and have kids young. I want to drink, party, be lit, be in the street. So like, that's kind of what I did. So I just kind of like casually dated women and casually dated men for many years. I never got into another serious relationship again during that time. And then I transferred to Howard University and then moved to DC the middle of my sophomore year. And that is when I started dating women long distance. Another story for another video. So I basically would like date women long distance and then like hang out with guys casually in DC. It was I think I just kind of mirrored my relationship that I had my freshman year because it felt familiar. I basically was bisexual for many years. I came out to my sister, outed me to my mom, and it's not like as dramatic as it sounds. Like, without getting into it too much, like I said, me and D stopped dating after my freshman year. They were from Charleston and did not move away from Charleston when I came back my sophomore year. So it was like a lot of drama. And I called my sister crying about it because it was just like depressing. Like, Janae had moved, Tinshaw had moved. They both transferred to schools after freshman year. I didn't have like super close friends, and I was just in a whole bunch of drama all the time. And like, D was a part of that drama, and I was just miserable. Like, I hated my sophomore year. I was just miserable. I mean, that's why I left. It was a big reason why I left. I called my sister crying about it, and then she called my mom, and she really called my mom in concern of me. She was like, you need to go get Kiki. That's what my family calls me. She's sad because this girl broke her heart, basically. And so that's when my mom realized I was bisexual. And then I had filmed a pilot for a reality TV show. I just have lived so many lives, it's crazy. And in the pilot, I talked about my sexuality. So I had to sit my dad and my stepmom down and be like, hey, like, this is the thing, I'm bisexual. And at the time I was like, I still want to get married, I still want to have kids, I'm still gonna be with a man, I'm just like kind of having fun. But when I was 20, I was now living in DC. I was going to Howard. I was living in Hyattsville at these student housing for Howard and UMD students. While I was living there, I was also working at this pizzeria in Chinatown, and I had been talking to this guy for a long time, maybe like a year, maybe, I don't know. We were super casual. For my 21st birthday, he comes over after I go out with my roommate and her best friend, and we have intimations. We are intimate, and I fell asleep. Like, And it wasn't because I was drunk. It was just because I wasn't interested. Because at that point, I had pretty much lost my attraction to men. Like, the fact that we were flirting really hard and making out for like almost a year and never did anything else should have like put alarm bells in my head. Because it wasn't like I was talking to other people, right? Like, like that was like my dude, but like not really though. And so when I woke up that next morning, he was gone because I think he had to go to work or whatever. But I woke up and was like, bitch, you're gay. You don't like men. You don't like men. Like, you're gay. You are a raging lesbian. You are a lipstick raging lesbian. You're gay. The Nile is a river in Egypt. Bitch, you are gay. Like, that's what I realized. And so, turned 21 and have not dated a man since. Have not talked to, kissed, hung out, nothing. And I still obviously find men attractive. Like, that doesn't go away. When I see a cute guy, like, oh, he's cute. But like, there is nothing past that. Nothing. You know what I mean? I don't even really hang out with men unless they're gay. There are very few straight men that are not family that are in my life. Very, very few. Because it's just not my audience. It's just not my environment. You know what I mean? And once I came to that realization, I dove headfirst into being gay as fuck. Now, I'm not a rainbow gay. I wish I had a rainbow flag. I'm not a rainbow gay. I don't even like own rainbow things. But I am very proud about my queerness. My parents came around pretty quickly, if not immediately, and have always been extremely supportive of my sexuality. And like my friends in my community, I have a lot of obviously lesbian friends. I have a lot of gay friends. My mom has always had an open door policy to all of my queer friends. My mom walked in the Pride Parade with me last year. My dad has come to my lesbian parties that I throw. All of my family is extremely supportive. I had a like black queer merchandise brand for many years. My entire family always purchased stuff and always bought stuff. Like, my sister has gone to Pride parties with me. She's actually coming to Atlanta Pride with me for my birthday next month. No, in August. Like, I've always had a really good support system. And what I will say is that, like, that is not the norm. And I feel like it's really important for me to talk about this point, especially during Pride Month, and especially with like where our society is going. It's going very, very far right. It's very, very conservative. I am very nervous as a black queer person, like what life will look like in the next 3 to 4, like the next 2 years, really, next year for me with the election coming up. But it is not the norm for me to be able to go through that journey, explore all of these feelings, and be so accepted and loved the entire time by my black Christian family. I am so blessed and so grateful for that. There are so many of us who don't get that acceptance. There was never a time where I couldn't go home. My has always shown up for me emotionally. They have always shown up for me in terms of like the things that I've done around my queer community. Like, they're so freaking supportive. And I know that that's not the norm. And I'm extremely grateful for that as I celebrate Pride Month this year. I really am. For this Pride Month, I encourage people who are allies and who have family members who are queer to make sure that they know that y'all love them and y'all accept them and that y'all always be there for them, because you need to hear that. Even with how accepting my family is, it is so nice when they show up for me, or like when my dad calls me asking me about my girlfriend or like what I have going on. Like, being able to talk to my West Indian black father about my same-sex relationships is unmatched. I don't care what anyone says. And I'm just grateful for that. And I'm grateful to have gone through the experience. You know, I know that I don't want to date men because I've done it. I know exactly how it feels. I know exactly how it looks. I have no interest in doing it again. And I'm very happy to be a leslie, for sure. So that's my coming out story. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if y'all have any other questions or want to know anything more about my journey into being a part of the queer community, let your girl know. Make sure you guys follow, like, subscribe, comment, share my video. I am gonna be, I think I've said this before, I'm gonna be more consistent. Like, now that I've graduated and life is slowed down, I definitely am gonna be posting way more content. So I'll see y'all next time.